Welcome to this special presentation, Part 2 of Suppressed. Part 2, the hidden atrocities. Last time we questioned the official death toll. Now let's ask, who killed the other victims and why can't we talk about it? The year is 1994. The Hutu and Tutsi are locked in a horrific battle for survival. The killing fields of Rwanda have just been cleared. But as the smoke clears, another horror emerges. Thousands of people are missing. Where are they? Who did this? These questions have been buried. Until now, this is our story. In the aftermath of the genocide, the TPIR, the rebel group led by Paul Kagame, allegedly massacred thousands of Hutus in cold blood. It was justified as retribution, revenge for what the Hutus had done. They called it Operation Acolyte or Operation Justice. And justice was served, only it wasn't. Not really. This story has been suppressed because it doesn't fit the narrative. Paul Kagame is celebrated as the darling of the West. He is invited to speak at the United Nations. He advises the US on security matters. He's feted in the Belgian press. He's made Time magazine's list of the 100 most influential people. But what if the man being celebrated is a war criminal? This is a question that many Rwandans are asking. What happened to the Hutus in 1994 may be less known, but it is no less important. You see, the forest holds many secrets. These are the hills of eastern Congo, a region dominated by militias and warlords. But before the fighting began, these were some of the most fertile farmlands in Africa. But now it's hard to find anyone who will talk about the killings. Those who do are too afraid to show their face. In 1998, the UN created an international tribunal to investigate the genocide. It tried 93 people, all and only Hutus. The court found them guilty of crimes against humanity, rape, torture, murder, but also of war crimes. In other words, crimes committed during the actual war. The prosecution said that the massacres were motivated by hate. But what about the killings carried out by the TPIR soldiers? Were they motivated by hate as well? Well, the UN court never looked into it. There were rumors of a cover-up, allegations of bribes. So in 2008, the UN searched for one of the most senior officials from Kagame's army, a man by the name of Robert Kajuga. Kajuga was the leader of an extremist group called Interahamwe. That's what the UN indictment said. But what if it was wrong? What if Robert Kajuga was not a Hutu? What if he was Tutsi? We asked the lead prosecutor how he could be so sure. He wouldn't answer. Instead, he told us to read the indictment. It says clearly that Kajuga was a Hutu. But here's the thing. All the evidence was classified. The witnesses, the victims, the testimonies, the reports, everything. We asked to see the evidence, but it was all sealed. He disappeared soon after and silenced. These files are supposed to be the bedrock of justice, but what good is justice if it's never served? It is the duty of every court to decide in accordance with the law and not to shrink from declaring all that the law is in its majestic equality. Majestic indeed. But there's more. The UC, France, and Belgium also have classified documents from 1994. Why haven't they made them public yet? A request under the Freedom of Information Act was submitted. A lot of running around followed, a lot of closed doors. Then came the response. Most of the documents contain sensitive information. Does that mean they don't want us to know? So why does any of this matter? Because the world is watching. Rwanda's story is being used to justify wars in the Congo, to silence Rwandan opposition, and to reshape Africa's future. The US military has a base in Rwanda. Kagame addresses the United Nations. Here's a map showing the areas of conflict in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now zoom in. Look at the two regions where most of the fighting is happening today. Both regions are rich in minerals. Both regions are close to Rwanda. Is this a coincidence? And who exactly is Paul Kagame? He's often called the architect of the new Rwanda. He's credited with building schools and hospitals. He's given Rwanda a sense of purpose. Yes, but what about the dissenting voices? What about the critics? Some have been imprisoned, others have been killed. One journalist was found hacked to death near his home. Another was shot outside his office. A former army colonel accused of planning a coup was thrown out of an airplane. A prominent critic of Kagame disappeared in mysterious circumstances. His name was Kajuga Tutsi, better known as Turatsinze, meaning the immovable. Why is it that everyone is afraid to talk about Turatsinze? Why was he erased? Why is his story suppressed? Why was Kajuga never allowed to speak? Why are the archives still sealed? If you have answers to any of these questions, please comment below. If you believe that Africa's history is not theirs to rewrite, subscribe to this channel, and thank you for watching.